Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure showcase and review, we're going to be looking at the Age of the Primes Leader Class Razorclaw figure. So we are going to have a look at him in both of his modes. I'll be decide how you want to display him. We are of course going to be comparing him with the original owner of the mold, Tigerhawk, over there. We're going to bring in a few other figures in both modes just to give you an idea of how well he scales and indeed what he looks like with the other figures from the same and different toy lines. Now if I start to maneuver all of these out of the way, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if I'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. And also, once again, to thank Indemand Toys. Because of them, that's the reason I've got this to be able to do the review. I think he's just come out in the UK now, but at the time of them lending me this from the StoreCon event, he actually wasn't out. So the packaging, again, as you'd expect, industry standard for Transformers Age of the Primes. Razorclaw there. We've got beautiful artwork of the alternate mode, the bust of the robot there. Again, more of the bust of the robot mode there. And there you can see both modes' actual product shots. What I'm going to do and put in the description, I'm going to put a link to the original transformation process I did for Tigerhawk. To be honest, I actually used it myself to get him into this mode, because he does come packaged in robot mode as well. Now again, I did have the opportunity to review this quite some time ago, but this is where I'm super honest with regards to pretty much everything. I feel genuinely so out of my comfort zone with this particular figure because I just really don't know too much. In fact, I don't know anything about it. If I'm being completely honest, when they said Razorclaw at San Diego Comic-Con and Leader Class, I initially cheered because I thought it was going to be the Generation 1 Predacon, and then I was a teeny bit disappointed when I saw what this is. And funnily enough, again, seeing it in hand at MCM, I just wasn't particularly interested in it, but now I've got it in hand, it's crazy. And this is, I suppose, one of the benefits of doing reviews like this. I get the opportunity, or I'll perhaps buy a figure per se, you know, that I wouldn't normally, just to have a look at it. And in this particular instance, this has completely won me over. Now the Tigerhawk mold is very complex, but it also works. But I'm sure that, again, I always sort of say this, and lots of people tend to agree in the comments, that the darker Decepticon logo tends to just work really well. You know, the blacks, the greys and the purples, etc. And I'm going to start off, as I say, with him in this particular mode. The translucent red as well just works so well. So articulation wise, in beast mode, as you can see, the head, it's pretty much fused, if we're being honest. It will look up and down, but it won't turn left or right, but it just looks great. There's no jaw articulation. I love the green eyes, they look quite sort of venomous. The wings, as you can see, they've got this hinge here which they can swing back and forth. They've got a hinge there which will go up and down. There's an additional giant hinge there as well, so you've got a lot of range of motion with these. The accessories, which you can see here, do come separately packaged, so you do attach them yourselves. You can fold them back and completely store them away if you wanted to, and either way they look great. So now you've got like a triple firing cannon. You could also use them to double up, I suppose, as blast effects, to look like, you know, he's literally jettisoning away. The tail moves up and down. The blaster you can maneuver around and you can of course take it off. The hind legs on this one, they're oh no, there you are, it's holding now. Typically, there you go. I thought they were perhaps a little tiny bit loose due to the fact that it's quite a big figure and they were falling out, but to be honest, it's just gone and held it. But you can see there's articulation at the top of what I suppose the hip is, the knee coming halfway down. That's a bit too high up to be the ankle, but you know what I mean. And the feet, so 1, 2, 3, 4 points of articulation in the small legs at the back alone, and 1, you can even swivel, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of articulation in the front leg. So really good in this particular instance. And I got, you know, let's be honest, it's a leader sort of class figure. It's huge, it's very complex as well. It surprises me, I suppose, just how good it is. So yeah, loads of articulation in this. It's just the head, the fact that you can only go up and down. That did disconnect then, so that wasn't extra. I suppose if you wanted to, you could sort of disconnect it slightly to make it look down even more, and you can pretty much disguise it with the wings. It's not the end of the world. The feather detailing, it does look very good. Again, the red and purple seems to work really well. I've already said I'm a fan of translucent red plastic. The negative negative on the underside, we do still have the big gaps under there. And just in case you weren't aware, these also, like the big blasters, come separately packaged, so you will need to attach these. And again, unfortunately, there are a bit of a gap there. But what I want to get across really is it's a nice, and I said this with Tigerhawk, I'm pretty sure I did it really does feel like what I would class as an old school leader class figure. So I mean, like a really, you know, genuinely sort of big figure. There is your Commander class Prime. Here is your, you know, Voyager class Earthrise Prime. It's much bigger, you know, with the giant wingspan as well. It really is so much bigger than some of your normal figures. To be fair, I couldn't even fit them in screen if I wanted to. Now with this opening up the wingspan, look at that, you can see what I mean. That's genuinely huge. And as I say, really it's just again impressed me, and I'm even more impressed than I thought I would be. But if you are a fan of this mold already, or if you don't know much about it, please do check out the Tigerhawk mold. But if you are a fan of this mold, you know exactly what you are getting. I'm going to spin this around the other way just to show you, and then to be honest, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about this particular mode. I'm just noticing there, I'm wondering if I could use that. I like to do this as well, if you're new to the channel, just go off the cuff and see if things work. So no, it's just a fraction too small. I was going to attach some more weapons underneath, and I can't, if I'm being completely honest, see any more places or anywhere else to attach anything, or any more weapons or blast effects, officially or unofficially by the looks of it. But there we go. Let's get him into robot mode and see how he looks and compares with Tigerhawk. Okay guys, back for the final time with him in his robot mode, which I presume is the way that most of you are going to be displaying him. Please do let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong. And again, quick apologies, no transformation process. Main reason to keep the length of the video down. And as I've said, I'm definitely going to be putting a link in the description using the transformation tutorial I made myself on Tigerhawk, because it's just worked a treat for this. So let's get closer and let's have a look at him. Once again, very impressive use of the translucent red for the head, which looks very good. You can also see that the teeth there, the silver inside, it's got like a like menacing sort of look to him. The visor, actually, you can just about make out the eyes underneath there. I can definitely see some eyes, so that's a little bit of detail I wasn't expecting to see. Now unfortunately you can't maneuver any of this. You can, as in you can't take the visor off. You can turn the head around. You can also make him look up and down. The red looks amazing, same as on the shoulder there, just like that. So that's the articulation in the head. The shoulders, you've got to maneuver a few things around to be able to get just about the full T, but you can there with that. Obviously, if you want to spin it round again, you would have to maneuver and manipulate everything out of the way, but as you can see, you definitely can do that. There is a shoulder swivel, there is a bicep flexion, there is there a wrist swivel? There is no wrist swivel, but there is no gap in the forearms because that is where they took, so no wrist swivel on this. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, of course, there's a waist swivel. You do have to maneuver this part out of the way, but then you can get a swivel. Is it restricted? It feels quite restricted. I do not want to go there in case I snap it, but there's more than enough range of motion there for you to be able to pose it. Legs will come up past the point, and just again, if as long as you maneuver everything out of the way, past the point of splits to the front and back, to the sides, you're just going to get the normal splits to the sides, so no more range of motion there. Swivel at the top of the thigh, big huge knee bend, which you can see there. Swivel at the top, ankle tilting, toe tapping, rocking, so many different things going on with regards to these legs, because of course they've got dual purpose. So again, super articulate. I suppose negative is no wrist swivel. The wings, we can completely mess around with them. So let me, in fact, no, let's keep them up, to be honest, because if we want to bring these up here, you're going to want to see it. Now again, unfortunately, when you do that, you will see the hollowness on the inside. The thing that shocks me the most about this figure is, with all this, let's be honest, it's a pretty big backpack. Again, looks great, but it manages to balance really quite well with just them little heel screws at the back, so you can flare them up there. This is where you can, I suppose, come into your own, and again, I imagine it's a toy photographer's dream. Fold these over, you can bring it closer, you can start to angle it over the shoulders if you wanted to. I think, can you? I'm sure you could a little bit, perhaps not as well as I thought you could, but once again, you can, in fact, let's do this. You can disconnect it, he says, like so. Does that stay in there? I think, yeah, that will stay in there. There you go. Still getting used to the figure. You can disconnect these completely. There you go. They will pop out. You can keep them there though and still make that look like you've got, you know, some triple firing cannons. You can then of course pop these in the hands like so. So there you go. In fact, if this, I think this might have been something what I did with the other Tigerhawk. So I give him like a twin blaster here. Again, sorry if you're new to the channel, I just love to go off on a tandem because at the end of the day they're toys and I like to play with them. So twin blaster going on in the one hand, and then of course you can take the feathers off. And oh, that was a bit scary then. I actually genuinely thought I broke it, but I hadn't. And again, you've got a choice. You can pop in, and if you don't push all the way in, look, we've got a double wielding, crazy, armed up yeah, I really like that. There you go. Again, just go off the cuff. And of course, 5mm ports on the forearm, so you can attach other weapons if you wanted to on either side. That one's already got one in there. Can't see any other 5mm ports in honesty, but again, for fun and for, I'm sure, for toy photography, you can have a blast with these because you can just do that. And again, I think that's something that's great. And as I've already mentioned, you know, at the end of the day, it's a toy. You should be able to have fun and mess around, perhaps exactly like I was doing. So let's just bring these down. And let's very quickly, the only negative, again, this is, it could be the way that I've got it. It could be, oh dear, it could be that it's an early sample. I keep rolling if this happens, because if it happens to yours, just rest assured how easy it is to reattach. What I was going to say is it looks like they still sometimes do pop out, but if we're being totally honest, I was pretty much manhandling that figure then. I wasn't really being very light with it at all. Right, let's bring these further apart. Let's come down. So again, color scheme, which one's winning for you? It's gotta be, for me, the dark one. Just gotta be. Even though you can't really see, I suppose, the hydraulics inside there or in the forearms as detailed, the extra like reflective paint, the translucent red works way better for me than the translucent green. I suppose it depends on which, you know, which character's yours. If you love Tigerhawk, then of course it's going to be Tigerhawk every day of the week. But it's good to see them next to each other. I even think the beast head looks way better in this particular one as well. Right, let's move him out of the way. Let's bring this guy in. There we go. And let's bring in, which other one did I do? I brought this guy down, funnily enough, just for a random comparison, because although not the same, that's much more difficult to balance as well. And I know they're completely not the same toy lines. They're not even anything anywhere near the same. It's just to give you an idea of giant sort of winged figures. He's massive compared to him. He really is. There we go. That's a good quick look at them. Now let's bring in some other figures. So same toy line. We've got these. In fact, yeah, Age of the Primes is the same toy line. Then we've got some of the more regular ones, as I say, which I like to do because 90% of people have got at least one of these. So it gives you an idea of the size. If you haven't upgraded to set 86, there's your Earthrise. And as I say, most people will have a Bumblebee. This is the completely overused Siege Megatron mold, which again looks great. And to be honest, I don't really think there's much more. I mean, I could keep bringing out loads and loads of figures, but I think I've pretty much covered it with all bases on most toy lines, if we're being dead honest. So that's G1 stroke missing link. But to be fair, as I say, guys, really impressed with the figure, mainly down to the color scheme, I think, just because it is completely wild and it does just work. But there you go. You let me know what you think of him in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. It is a fun toy, especially with what you can do with his accessories. And that's all I've got to say in him. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care.